very frustrating because it would be months of that and huge. I'll bust his balls harder than everyone else. Everyone goes, "Oh, Miz is great now. We always loved him." Like, no, he was bad. It's okay. He's my friend. He wasn't great at wrestling. He was good at being annoying, and then he perfected the talking part. And so many times we did have that popcorn match where a lot of people dread it because if you're not over, people aren't rushing back to their seat to see you. And if you're not one of the over guys, and if it is 15 years ago, myself and Miz, it's like, we'll see. But in that popcorn style, Miz would talk for a little bit and then slowly, it's one, you're getting people back to your seats, but also you get him slowly burning into whatever town we're in. Like, if it's in a whaling town, it's just like, and whale hunters are jerks. And you're like, boo. Like, it's like, it would be whatever the city was, but he would slowly get into just letting everyone know we're back, but then getting everyone hating his guts. And we would go out there. We would do, for the most part, in the match, Miz would listen to me, and it's great, and we'd have a match, and except for the figure four part, that's all on him. Figure five, whatever he but it really was like we get into the motion of it, and it was like we got down to a thing where we could have a couple different middle and finishes. And it was frustrating because, like, damn, we were in the popcorn match. Back then, Intercontinental, U.S. title, and tag titles, 80% of my time were just throwaway pieces that sometimes had things. So many times, Kofi and I would trade it back and forth with no fanfare, no storyline, no anything. So having those matches and having a buddy that you can go, no, let's try this, let's do this, and try and outdo the guys in the main event, because he's another person I gravitate to. He wanted to be in the main event. He wanted a main event WrestleMania. He wanted to be the number one guy on the show. And I said, let's outdo each other. Same thing with John Morrison. Same thing with Zack Ryder. We go out there to outdo everybody else to an extent to where it does get so frustrating when you're like, hey, Arn Anderson would write a report, and he doesn't want to write those reports, but he'd be like, you guys stole the damn show for the 68th time. I'm telling the boss, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. That's going above and beyond. You don't have to do that. And you can tell the boss, you know what? We got your match. You guys are getting 18 minutes on TV. Like, hell yeah, let's go. And there's going to be a backstage and a promo, and you get there, and then it's like, well, you guys are after the third meeting, you guys got 12 minutes, and you don't have an entrance. Okay, we're gonna make this special. We're gonna capture that magic from the live event. And by the time we get up there, and it's like, all right, 6.5 minutes. Miz, you're gonna walk and talk. Nick will already be in the ring. Okay, and then you can't recreate that same magic, and then maybe Vince is going, this is the match that Arn Anderson said blew him away?
Yeah.
What? That happens. That's Hollywood. It happens, but that's how it went down a lot. Very frustrating.
I'll never forget when we did an interview for one of the documentaries about the TLC matches, and the Hardys, Dudleys, and Edge and Christian felt the same frustration at times. Well, but we had the benefit of them listening a lot more than they listened for you guys. And when I say they, I mean creative and the office. But we knew that we had earned main event spots for tag teams, which is unheard of in the WWE, unless it's two singles guys. So they once asked us, what was your mentality towards, the locker room, towards everything once you got to TLC 2? And I said the mentality was very simple. Fuck you. That's how we felt towards the entire roster, whether it was Steve Austin or The Rock, nobody. It was follow that if you can.
Right.
Because we knew what we were able to do out there, and it's frustrating when you're doing something so damn well, and the people are responding to it, and the people are supposed to be the only one that truly matters, but creative doesn't run with the reactions that they're hearing. And what you just brought up about by the time wrestling fans and Busted Open should be talking about other shows, we're forced to talk about the WWE because of some move they made, some headline they saw, something. And I'm going to take you back to All In. Coming out of All In, we should have been talking, like, the entire show should have been about All In on Monday with me and LaGreca. It wasn't. We did about an hour, and the rest of the night was on Evolution and whatever else the WWE had done on that weekend. They really,
Right.
they forced us into talking about them. I even put up a Twitter poll. I'm like, what do you want to hear us talk about? Evolution, All In, whatever other shows are on that weekend. And 63% of the vote went to Evolution. It's like wrestling fans would have much rather have talked about the women's exclusive show,
Right.
other than the huge AEW show that was, that 25,000 people showed up to in Dallas. So that was very telling. But so I think AEW has to do something to grab a headline, do something special, do something emotional, do something to get people talking. All right. So here's the thing. We know that Tony Khan is a massive ECW fan. And for those people who don't understand just how big of a wrestling fan Tony Khan is, please go to my Twitter. Because about an hour ago, I always put out a tweet when the show starts. Hitting 402-pound Bubba Ray Dudley right there with a chair over the head. Devon split me open 3 different times in our career. Anyway, do you see the guy in the orange T-shirt standing up with the yellow sign?
Yes.
Do you have any idea who that is?
TK?
You really don't?
No, I don't.
That's Tony Khan.
Okay, hell yeah. What's the sign say? Jerk or Jur?
It says J-E-R. It's short for Jeremiah because his friend Jeremiah was in the arena that night also. And I think he was sitting in a different section. I think he was trying to get his attention.
That's great.
So this picture is from 1996. The name of the show was The Doctor Is In. And Dr. Death Steve Williams had made his had come to ECW. And I think in the main event, Doc was teaming with Dreamer against 2 other guys, yada, yada. But this is a really interesting picture because it shows a young TK, Tony Khan, at the ECW arena, sitting in the crowd as a fan. And Tony Khan will tell you that it was nights like this and also another night at the Lulu Temple, I believe, where he came to see Jericho wrestle and Taz wrestle. He was there this weekend, where his dad had told him, if you do well on a test or you get an A in school, whatever it was, you can have anything you want. And Tony got the A in school or got the 100 on the test, and he says, I want to go to the ECW arena.
Hell yeah.
I want to see Taz, and I want to see Chris Jericho. That's the backstory. What does it have to do with last night and AEW being in the ECW arena? I would have recreated that exact moment to open the show. I would have loved to have seen Justin Roberts standing in the middle of the ring and saying, welcome to AEW. Tony Khan in the exact same seat with his Taz shirt on with the rest of the sickos, because he named the sickos and he said that he was a sicko and he writes this show for his fellow sickos. So I want to see him with the sickos. And then I would have loved to have heard Tony tell the story real quick about how that night in this very arena, in this very seat, was when he knew that this is what he wanted to do. I'm getting goosebumps right now. I'm getting goosebumps. And the AEW chant to start the show, just like an ECW chant to start the show. I would have loved to have seen Tony, because this is where it all began for him. So bring it full circle.
Yeah.
That was my suggestion to open the show. And that takes all of 5 minutes or less.
Right.
You get that incredible moment with Tony, you get that AEW chant, and then you roll right into Cope and Christian.
Yeah. I'm already picturing the production in my head while you're laying out the groundwork. and it's just like, welcome, and you know, I'm just picturing the camera going all around instead of just the hard camera shot or the one camera shot. It's going all over the place, like almost like Price is Right style or something. And then finally it zooms out, and then as Justin Roberts says, welcome to it, it's like it goes around, boom, and finds this fan standing there, and whether it says ECW or Let's Effing Go or whatever, AEW, whatever it is, and like this, and like, and it takes everyone a couple seconds to go, freaking TK their shit, and you already have that vibe of, as we're starting, we're chanting AEW, not one that like, look, the screen told us to applaud. This is like the real, like, this is, you said the sickos. This is what it's about. This is what it's from. This is why I'm here right now, because of this. Let's go. And then back out to the crowd, everyone losing their shit. And then you cut to the music, whether it's FTR to get everyone booing their ass off, or it's or even if it's Cope coming out. But you hit that boo right there with the FTR music, and then you automatically go up, down, and now you're 30 seconds into the show. We've had two high-level emotions, and we're just rock and rolling, and we're going to get to that big pull-apart. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. And you're talking about, you know, you brought up the sickos. AEW released a shirt yesterday that's going to be on sale, obviously, for the next 2 weeks. It's the old school ECW barbed wire logo that they did with AEW, and then on the back it said it's for the sickos. It's a complete ripoff of an ECW shirt. Yeah. And if you're going to go as far as to borrow, rape, rob, pillage, and steal from ECW as done in the past, I want to see that dude. I want to see grown billionaire Tony Khan be that 12-year-old kid again. Yeah. Because now you're showing me, yeah, you really are like one of us.
Yes.
Vince McMahon would never be sitting in the crowd with us. And when Triple H sits in the crowd, he's got a dozen security guards around him and Nick Khan. There's Tony with the fans, with the sickos, chanting AEW, wearing his Taz shirt, and being that kid all over again. That's a moment I would have lived on.
That's not even just a moment. That's we started, I'm saying we started to give you an alternate to this show that you're forced to watch because you love professional wrestling. And every time it comes up, it's a totally different style. It's totally else. Who, if you got tired of the product or whatever the situation is, this one's the real one. This is the one that listens to you. This is the one that is for the sickos. And like you said it great. Vince, everything I think of in my head is the opposite of Vince. Would Vince ever be out there? Hell no. That's why I'm one of you. I'm not like that. I'm one of you, and I want you to see the show that you want to see. That's why I give you every damn match I can. That's why I love it. That's why this picture exists. I could be out here with you, but I got to get in the bag and put my headset on. But I just wanted to feel one more time what it's like to be one of the true original sickos here. And thank you for keeping me in business. Let's rock and roll. And then hit that hit that heel music. Get them all bummed out. Go watch FDR as he goes to the back, put the headset on.
I think Tony Khan mentioned something on social media either late last night or this morning, and he said, I didn't want to put myself on TV. I didn't want to take away from the show, blah, blah, blah. Well, you did that about 36 times in the past couple of years with the bogus announcements, big announcement, huge announcements, thunderous announcement, blah, blah, blah. If there was ever a night for you to put yourself on TV, it would have been last night because it would have been special. Nick, I'm sure you've had people ask you in interviews, when did you know you wanted to be a pro wrestler?
It's the original show that I ever went to. Cleveland did not have an arena, so the Cavs played at Richfield Coliseum, and this is before the Thanksgiving Survivor Series stuff. But it's 86. 86. I think I'm 5 years old, and I went to a show, and I remember the music didn't play for a couple of the guys because it's probably Pat Patterson with a record player and a microphone in the back, dead serious, or maybe a tape player, and it didn't work. And the intermission match is the Hart Foundation versus the British Bulldogs in a steel cage, and then the main event was Hulk Hogan versus King Harley Race, and that's all I remember. And we were far away, and if you're born in the 2000s, you don't know that there wasn't giant Trons, there wasn't fanfare and music, and half of them didn't. And we were nosebleed seats very far away for like a live event. And I watched it. I go, this is awesome. I told my dad, I want to be a wrestler. And he goes, okay. And at 5.5 years old, I started doing amateur wrestling stuff. So I legit walked in to my grade school gym and was like, where's the ring? Where's the ropes? He goes, no, this is different wrestling. If you get good at this, maybe you'll have a shot at that. So like 5.5 years old, I was like, I want to do this. And for years, I got to watch Superstars and a couple different things, but I did the ECW on my black and white UHF TV 2 nights a week. So
when I was 12 years old, I got to sit in the front row at Madison Square Garden when Jimmy Snuka jumped off the top of the steel cage onto Magnificent Morocco.
How spoiled is that? Like, how do you beat memories like that at 12? It's over.
And my point of bringing up your story and my story is that's the exact moment we knew, and people will appreciate those stories forever. And that shot from 1996 of Tony Khan being in the ECW arena, that was the night that he knew that he wanted to be a booker. Because Tony Khan, as a young kid, I don't think he wanted to be a wrestler. I think he wanted to be a booker. He's not a booker. He's a matchmaker. And his goals in life were to, like, win Wrestling Observer, awards for Best Booker. We might look at that and, chuckle at it. But if that was your dream when you were a child, okay, so be it. You've got to. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to hear. That last night, I would have loved to have seen Tony in that seat going, this was my dream. I sat here and knew when I was watching ECW that this is what I wanted to do, and we did it together.
Yeah. That fits so much when you have the alternative to WWE. We're not doing this stuff, or Vince would never do this, that kind of stuff. It's like, even if I'm just still picturing it now, like, hand in the crowd, it's like everyone just chanting AEW, and you just see, we don't even address it. It's TK holding the sign with all the sickos, like, let's freaking go. And you're like, wait a minute, is that Tony Khan? What the hell? And everyone goes, whoa! And even then, you still hit FTR music if you didn't want to take up too much time of anything. Like, you're literally taking no time. But I appreciate the selflessness, but there's a couple times where you remind everybody on TV, not just everyone in the arena, that I wanted to make a wrestling show that I wanted to see because we all wanted to see it, and we wanted to offer an alternative, and damn it, it's because you were still here.
Nobody has the Tony Khan story. Nobody was the kid sitting in the arena like he was. It wasn't, or if they do have the story, it's not nearly as special, as sentimental, and can't be told with a simple picture like the one that I put up this morning that it was. Okay, Jeff Jarrett was born into this whole thing. Dixie Carter bought into this whole thing. But Vince McMahon, yes, looked at it so much from a business point of view that he would never think of, doing something like this. Only much later on in life did we get the Vince stories, because Stephanie had to basically beg him to tell the stories because he never wanted to talk about it. Triple H wanted to be a wrestler. We never get, there's not that real sentimental side of Triple H. Tony is quirky. He's odd to an extent. He fits right in with those sickos. Paul Heyman was not afraid to go stand in the middle of a wrestling ring and be brutally honest with his fan base. As much as there's this, perception of Paul, and Paul was a liar, Paul did what he had to do to keep his company afloat. And if that meant bending the truth, and I'm putting it nicely, to keep things moving forward, he did what he had to do. But there's one person that Paul never lied to, or one set of people that Paul never lied to, his fan base. And Paul did not want to be in front of that crowd, but he knew that there were certain times he needed to be in front of that crowd. And I'm just saying it would have been nice if last night Tony Khan was sitting with that crowd.